if you do this, if you use a nuclear weapon against Iran or anyone in the Middle East, we will use a nuclear weapon against you. I'd be very surprised if he has not already said that. We don't understand what we've walked into because we're not informed. We still think this is 1991.
Netanyahu has come out to make a desperate appeal for help against Iran. It took 21 days for Trump and Netanyahu to realize it's impossible to defeat Iran by just dropping bombs. You have to understand, Iran is used to suffering. They've been going through sanctions for 47 years. And after Israel just recently attacked its Natanz nuclear site in Iran, Iran responded by hitting the Mona nuclear site in Israel. And this is not good. This is any target now. And if this continues and if nobody's willing to compromise, if both sides are not willing to compromise, then it's just going to escalate this to wider war. And we're going to look into this, and we'll also have a Professor Morandi and what his take on it, what this is. And also we have Douglas McGregor, what he had to say about this and Russia's involvement. And so that's what we're going to be discussing in this video. So if you find this video to be insightful and you want to support the channel, please be sure to like, subscribe before you leave. But let's get into it. So here's what Netanyahu had to say today, March 22nd.
If you want proof that Iran endangers the entire world, the last 48 hours have given it. In the last 48 hours, Iran targeted a civilian area. They're doing that as a mass murder weapon. Luckily, no one was killed, but that's due to luck, not their intention. Their intention is to murder civilians. Second, they fired on Jerusalem right next to the holy sites of the three monotheistic faiths, the Western Wall, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And by dint of a miracle again, none of them were hurt.
That's crazy. It's hard to believe like Netanyahu actually cares about Christians and Muslims now. And there's great lies, then there are Netanyahu lies after that. So it's crazy to believe that he actually cares about these religions now and these holy sites.
We're targeting the holy sites of the three major monotheistic religions. Third, they fired an intercontinental ballistic missile on Diego Garcia. That's 4,000 kilometers. I've been warning all the time. They have now the capacity to reach deep into Europe.
And we've been hearing that a lot, but I never heard that on the media. But we were going to look into that also. Now he's saying they can hit Europe and all these other countries.
Have fired on a European country, Cyprus. They are putting everyone in their sights. And fourth, they're stopping a maritime international route, energy route, and trying to blackmail the entire world. What more proof do you need that this regime that threatens the entire world has to be stopped? Israel and the United States are working together for the entire world.
That's crazy. So he's basically saying we need help. So
it's time to see the leaders of the rest of the countries join up. I'm happy to say that I can see some of them beginning to move in that direction, but more is needed. President Trump's call to have the international community confront this terrorist fanatic regime of zealots, that is a call not only for the security of America and the security of Israel, it's for the security of the entire world. And
that's crazy. And this is a war that was winning. It's over. They're all done. We got rid of Iran, everything. We blew up their naval, air, everything. But it's just, that's a different story than what's going on the ground. That's what they're saying on the media and the news. We won, everything is done. Iran is weak. But Iran is continuing. And we have this video also. This is the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for Israel. And then this is what he said. Yeah, so this is Oren Morstan. Look at this. This is Israel today. And it could be Rome, Berlin, or Paris next. Oh my God, everybody be scared. All right, let's hear it.
Come with me. I want to show you something. Look at this. Look at this. This is the face of evil. This is the Iranian regime, ballistic terror. This can now happen in Rome, in Vienna, in Berlin, in Paris. The only question is whether or not the Iranian regime will push the button. And we know the Iranian regime, and we know that they already pushed it.
That's crazy. This man is just, that's basically he's telling you all these are the countries we want them to join the war. Basically, he's just calling out all these countries saying, "Hey, you come in and you come in and you come in. We need these top countries." So here is what James Lee had to say about this. He says the only ones claiming that Iran attacked Diego Garcia and is trying to blow up Europe is Israel and the Zionist-controlled media. So let's see this video and he had to say.
Days ago, we were told that 2 ICBMs were fired at Diego Garcia, which is a joint US-UK military base in the southern Indian Ocean. Now, the Israeli military very quickly claimed that Iran fired these missiles and that they could soon hit Europe, including cities like Berlin, Paris, and Rome. Prime Minister Netanyahu then tweeted out, quote, "I ask the leaders of the free world, what are you waiting for? Israel is not only fighting for itself, but fighting for all of you." But there's just one problem. Iran says they got nothing to do with it. And if you read the Wall Street Journal reporting critically, it said that one of the missiles failed mid-flight, so it didn't even get there, and the other may or may not have been intercepted. So we really have no idea what actually happened. The US's own intelligence indicate that Iran lacks the capability of firing any missiles outside of about 1,200 miles. Now, Diego Garcia is located in the southern Indian Ocean, about 2,500 miles away from the nearest point in Iran, so something is not adding up here. Okay, the UK has now publicly come out to say that there is, quote, no assessment to substantiate Israel's claim that Iran has long-range missiles capable of hitting London. The NATO Secretary General said they have no evidence that Iran fired missiles at Diego Garcia.
That's crazy. So let's see what the NATO general said. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says the alliance cannot confirm Israel's claim that missiles targeting Diego Garcia was Iranian intercontinental ballistic missile. So that's crazy. So now you can just say stuff and then nobody, it's just the media, because once you put it out there, it's out there, whether it's true or not. It's just out there for the people, and people just run with it. So
that Iran fired missiles at Diego Garcia. So if that's really the case, that Iran didn't fire those missiles, then the elephant in the room, of course, is who did.
That is crazy. And here's Professor Morandi tells residents of Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia and Bahrain to flee tonight. If Trump strikes Iran, the entire infrastructure of the Gulf dictatorship is complicit in the war will be obliterated. So he's saying that if Iran's infrastructure, like their electrical grid and all these are attacked, then all these Arab countries are going to be attacked too. But let's hear the video.
And all those family dictatorships in the Persian Gulf, in Qatar, these proxies of the regime in Washington, the Emirates, the Bahraini regime, the Saudi regime, the Kuwaiti regime, all of them, every single one of them, they are complicit in this war. They assisted the United States in slaughtering Iranians. They've been assisting the United States for all these years in all their wars, whether in Yemen or whether in Iraq. When they invaded Iraq, these countries, these regimes, they had funded Saddam Hussein in the 1980s. They gave him hundreds of billions of dollars. But when their masters in Washington told them to turn against Saddam Hussein, they did so immediately. So these regimes will pay the ultimate price within hours. As soon as Trump starts targeting Iran's electrical power plants, everything on the other side of the Persian Gulf will be wrecked. And so my advice to people in these countries is to leave tonight.
That's crazy. And another video also, the professor said that if their electric and their oil was attacked, that you won't even need the Strait of Hormuz to, nobody would care if it's open or not, because there will be nothing to go through there. All the Middle East oil will be destroyed, and it's going to be a recession and a long-term war. So this is a different game right now. We're getting into scary times, and this is all a war of choice. President Trump just went in. They probably told him it's going to be, or he says it's an excursion, a 3-day special, a long weekend, just a quick getaway, and then we're going to be just like Venezuela plus one day. You know what I'm saying? So It's going to be quick, but it's crazy. And here is Colonel Douglas McGregor talking about if they bomb Iran or if they nuke Iran, then what is Russia and China's role? Because if you can't beat them, then the only other option you would have is to drop a nuclear bomb. And now it's 2026. Nobody want to see no nuclear bombs dropped. And now when we look at it in history, we say, oh, how can that happen? Nuclear, oh, and then in the future, if this happens, then we're going to look back into it, or other generations will say, oh, how did the generation of 2026 or the 20th century let that happen? And this happened, and it's because of war of choice and egos, and nobody is willing to compromise. Everybody's either you do my what I command, or now when you have great power, it comes with great responsibility. And great power, great responsibility. Absolute power, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so if it's unchecked and there's nobody to stop you, then you're just gonna just mess up the whole place. So that's what's happening right now. And the American empire is just, Trump is turning the United States into a whole totally different place than. But let's hear what the Colonel Douglas McGregor had to say about this. Colonel Douglas McGregor. So this was posted by Furkan. It says absolute bombshell. Colonel Douglas McGregor predicts Putin has already delivered a terrifying ultimatum to Netanyahu. If Israel dares to use a nuclear weapon in the Middle East, Russia will drop a nuclear weapon on Israel. The U.S. has no idea what it just walked into.
There's a complete failure to understand that Gaza is the catalyst for the larger war that's now going to begin against Israel. Every Muslim country is going to come on board against Israel, along with Russia, along with China. I'd be surprised if Putin doesn't make it very clear to Mr. Netanyahu that if he contemplates using a nuclear weapon, he needs to understand something. If you do this, if you use a nuclear weapon against Iran or anyone in the Middle East, we will use a nuclear weapon against you. I'd be very surprised if he has not already said that. We don't understand what we've walked into because we're not informed. We still think this is 1991. Listen to the rhetoric. I'm ready for peace now. We've made our point. We hope the Iranians understand us and will make peace. Have you lost your mind? The war is now just beginning.
Wow, that is crazy. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.